Hey there, boys and girls. Today I want to start by talking to you a little bit about using perspective to make some art. So last week kind of started us thinking about some pieces of art that you were making or that you might be seeing. And today I'm going to use that same concept that you were looking at last week and move it into an actual thing that you can make. So one of the things you noticed, a lot of you recognized about the artworks from last week, was that they were all landscapes. Now, landscapes are really cool to look at because they have a sense of space to them. They don't look flat. So today we're going to be building on that idea, and we're going to make a three-dimensional space on a flat piece of paper. And the easiest way we're going to do that is I'm going to look at simple shapes and simple forms. Now, my piece of paper here, I'm going to go through my tools I have. I just have a plain piece of white drawing paper that I grabbed from my computer. Nothing fancy, nothing exciting. If I don't have that available, I could use a brown paper bag and I could lay that flat and draw on there. Or if I have a sketchbook, that's awesome, work in a sketchbook. If you have old mail in your house, that's one of my favorite places to get scrap paper. Is a lot of times there's mail that I can use, a white side of the paper there, and just work from there. The other thing that I have is, like I said, just a regular drawing pencil. It's not a fancy one. It's just one that I had at my house. So that's what I'm using. I know it looks fancy, but it's really a plain one. And then today I can either have a ruler or I just actually have an old scrap paper. So something else that I painted on and drew on that I don't really need anymore, I'm going to use this. So we're going to, like I said, be using some perspective tricks. And so I'm going to show you or walk you through those really quick. I'm getting started. I laid my scrap paper about halfway down my paper here, and I'm going to start by drawing a really light line. So I'm barely touching my pencil on my paper, and I drew a line side to side. Doesn't matter if it's slightly crooked, if it's like that, who cares? But I want a side to side line. Now this is called our horizon line. Now a horizon line is a really special line when making art. This is where the sky and ground touch. Now, a lot of you say like the sky doesn't touch the ground, but it really does. When you look at it far enough away, it looks like the sky touches the ground. So that's a really important part that we're going to put in here. Now, the next thing we're going to add is going to be our perspective point. What we're doing today is, like I said, I'm going to have you learning how to do a 1-point perspective and a 2-point perspective. And I'm going to show you how they look different and how to do it. So there's 1-point perspective. Now, what I'm going to do first is on my horizon line, somewhere along here, I'm going to make a dot. Okay. Now that dot is going to be where it looks like all the other points go back to in space. So imagine right now, if you were to stand on a road, don't go do this, but if you were to stand on a road that just was straight and it went off into the distance, it would look like at a certain point that that road touched and it stopped being two separate sides of the road and just became one row or 1 point. That's called a vanishing point. And that vanishing point is a really important tool that artists use to make it look like we have perspective. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just do 1-point perspective with a basic side of a road kind of thing. So it's going to look like I've got a road, but I could also do it with a shape, and I'll maybe show that up in the sky so you can get an idea of how that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that vanishing point and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my paper here, my scrap paper, and I'm going to connect it so that my paper touches that vanishing point. And then I'm going to make it go diagonal. And I'm going to draw a line right along there. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So I'm going to put my pencil down so I know that my paper is touching right against my vanishing point. And again, I could use a ruler, not paper if I wanted. And I'm going to draw another line. Now, right away, it kind of looks like there's two sides of my road here. So what I'm going to get to do now is, if I want, I can decorate it and I can make it look like there's little marks for the middle of my road and that they get further apart as they get closer to me. And it's going to look like I've kind of got my road going back in space. I could do other things. Like sometimes artists do some fun stuff where they'll draw a line like this. And then they'll use they'll make it look like there's like telephone poles right there. And you can make them look like they're getting closer to you each time. And you'll notice I have to keep making them get bigger, because as they get closer and closer to me, they're going to look like they're bigger. We know that that's a trick that happens when we look at things off in the distance. But I can go ahead and I can make it look like that, and I can even draw my lines to connect it. Like we've got some space there. So there's some kind of cool things that I could do here. I can also use this to just make a shape look like it's got 3 dimensions, or a letter. So I'm going to go ahead and do just a simple shape this time to make it easy. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to draw a square. Now I drew it up above my horizon line just to kind of show you how it's going to look different when something's up. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scrap paper and I'm going to find my corners. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Now I'm going to connect each one of those 4 corners back to my vanishing point. So I'm going to put my pencil on my vanishing point and I'm going to connect it to my first corner. And then I'm going to very lightly, not hard yet, draw a line. I'm going to do the same thing. So I put my pencil on my vanishing point, put my paper towards my next one, and lightly draw. And I'm going to do my third one. And I'm going to go ahead and connect that last top corner. Now, I could do this 4th point, but you're going to notice this 4th point means it's going to run through the middle of my shape. And I'm not going to be able to see that unless I had a see-through cube. So I'm not going to draw it, because if I can't see it, I shouldn't draw it. But now my next job is that I need to finish these sides. Now, I don't want to make it look like my cube is going back all the way to my vanishing point. So I'm going to put an end to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and I'm going to think, I have this line here. If I had a cube, this line is going to be parallel to the one that would stop it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a line that's parallel. Now, again, a line like that isn't parallel. It's got to go across at the same angle as the one above it or next to it. Then this one I know is a vertical line, so I'm going to have to draw that as a vertical line, and they're going to meet at that point there. I can't just draw them anywhere. They have to touch. Just like this corner touches, this corner has to touch. And then I can go ahead and darken my lines here. And what I'm left with is this really cool 3-dimensional cube that looks like it's going back in space. Now it kind of looks like it's flying. I could maybe even do some fun things like put a door and windows on it. Ooh, and maybe I'll make it look like it's a house. Now I can't see much of that roof just because of the angle that it's at. So I would just have top part there. And now it looks like I have a flying house that's flying away. Kind of something fun I can do. So I can use these perspective lines. Now I'm going to show you really quick with 2-point. And this one I'm going to go a little faster to get it set up. So I'm going to move that out of the way. But I'm going to speed up my video in a second. This time I'm going to make 2 marks. This one's going to have 1 dot there, 1 dot there that are going to be my vanishing points, because this is a 2-point perspective. Now this one's trickier, so if you think that you just want to try only that 1 point and you think that 2-point is just going to be way too tough, don't worry. You don't have to do 2-point. You don't have to do 1 point. You could just try to make things look 3-dimensional in your own way. But this is one trick that I can use to make my 2-point perspectives look really cool. Now, 2-point perspective is a little trickier because instead of starting with a shape, we only start with a line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to show you 3 different examples. So I'm going to put 1 up top, put 1 down on the bottom, and I'm going to put 1 above. And put them in different spots so you'll kind of see how they look different. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take my paper and I'm going to line up the bottom of a line with my vanishing point, and very lightly I'll draw a line. I'm going to do that for the top too. And I'm going to do that on all 3 of my shape or my things I'm going to make here. So I've got the top one done now. And I've got my middle, and I noticed that it's kind of hard to see. I zoomed in a little bit too much, so maybe I'm going to have to zoom out my camera to show you those other ones. 1 second. There we go. Now you can kind of see the other two. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So I connect the tops back to my other vanishing point. So it's kind of, like I said, like doing 1 point perspective, but this time it's got 2 points that I've got to draw my lines back to. And you're going to see how tricky and cool this looks. Now, this is a trick that artists use a lot to help things look more realistic. So if you really are interested in practicing it, you're going to notice right away it's going to help your art become better and better and better. Okay. So there's my 3 lines. Now you might go, Mrs. Treblehorn, those don't look like shapes yet. And they don't, but they're going to. Now, just like with 1 point perspective, I always have to work with parallel lines. So here's my corner to a shape. I'm going to make this one a box. So I'm going to draw another parallel line right next to it. On the other side, I'm going to draw another parallel line. Now, when I connect these together, you'll see it looks like I've got a cube here. And I could add values to make it lighter and darker. We know we've practiced that. So if I make one side look dark, it's going to look like my cube is even more 3-dimensional, like I've got light shining there. Now, the top and the bottom ones are going to be trickier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my parallel line here. I've got my parallel line for the middle, and I'm going to do another parallel line over here. Now, I'm not done. This time I need to see the bottom of my box. I didn't have to see it here because I couldn't see the bottom or the top. But this time I'm going to have to draw 2 more lines. So I'm going to take my paper again, and I'm going to match up this to my vanishing point. I'm going to draw it back, and then I'm going to connect here, and I'm going to draw it back. And then if I want, I can darken in the bottom of my cube. And you can see I made a 3-dimensional cube that way. Same thing on the bottom. Like I said, I'm going to draw my parallel line. There's my center line. And this time I'm going to make it a bit bigger. I'm going to draw another parallel line. So all 3 of these are parallel, and then I have to connect from the corner back. So I'm going to be able to get the top of this box and that one. And then I can darken it in. Now, you'll notice here's a really big trick that you can probably see right away as you're looking at this. When I see a box that's above my horizon line, that's on top of it, I can only see the bottom, the front, and a side. If it's on my horizon line, I can only see the sides. And if it's below my horizon line, I can see the top, the front, and the side. I can't ever see all 6 sides of a cube, but I can do, again, some things like this. Now I could also play around here, and I could really make this complicated. I could make mine look like, you know, my E for my initial, and I could draw the lines back and make it look 3-dimensional and cool. But really, I just want you to play today. Try making something, whether it's just doing this, or maybe it's just trying a 1-point perspective, or maybe you want to make a whole picture. You can look up ideas online and get some inspirations of what you might want to try. Maybe it's just that you just want to make a cube, and that's all. That's totally fine. But I want you to try, and I want you to explore, and I want you to think about what you can work on. Okay, I hope you have fun creating today, and I can't wait to see your creations. Bye, boys and girls.